I have a strange habit that nobody else in my house knows about. Every morning before I leave the house, I spend about 10 minutes just sitting and talking to my cat. I am not calling his name. I am not giving him orders. I am just talking about how the day is going to go, about what is on my mind, about little things that do not really matter. It is just like how people talk to a true friend. One evening, I was on a video call with my sister and accidentally pointed my phone toward the living room. My cat was lying on the sofa, and when my sister asked where the cat was, I called his name through the phone. He sat right up immediately. He turned his head toward the phone. He perked his ears up. Then he walked closer, looking at the screen as if he was searching for something. I put the phone down, and the first question that popped into my head was not how cute he was. The question was, is he actually recognizing my voice, or is he simply hearing a sound coming from a device? Those two things look identical, but they are completely different. And that difference, if I could prove it, would completely change how I understand this animal that has lived with me for the past 4 years. So, I designed an experiment. I recorded my voice that night. 20 minutes. No drama, nothing intentional. Just me, talking the way I always talk every evening, sharing stories about my day, calling his name a few times, saying things that did not mean anything special. The next morning, I placed a small speaker in the corner of the living room, right where I usually sit. I set up a camera in the opposite corner, a wide-angle lens covering the entire room. Then I hit play. I walked out, I locked the door, and I sat in my car, opening up the camera feed to watch. 30 seconds went by. Then he walked into the room. What he did over the next 90 seconds, I have rewatched that footage 7 times. And every single time I watch it, I notice something I missed the time before. By the end of this video, you will understand something that most cat owners never realize about the way your cat truly hears you, not just your voice, but you. And once you understand that, you will never talk to them the same way again. But before I tell you what I saw in that footage, I need to tell you one thing. I am not the first person to ask this question. In 2013, a research team at the University of Tokyo did the exact same thing, but on a much larger scale. They gathered 20 house cats, recorded the voices of their owners as well as strangers, and then played those recordings back while the owners were out of the room. They measured 3 things: how much the cats turned their heads toward the sound, how much their ears perked up, and the change in their pupil size, which is one of the most honest indicators of nervous system arousal. The results were clear. Cats consistently recognized their owner's voice, responding more strongly, faster, and more obviously compared to a stranger's voice. But here is the part that I did not expect. Even though they recognized their owner's voice, the cats did not search for the source of the sound. They did not walk toward the speaker. They did not meow. They did not try to find where that voice was coming from. They listened, and then they froze. The lead researcher of the study called this the disassociation between perception and expression. In other words, the cat knows it is their owner's voice. They just do not respond the way you would expect them to. And the question that the study could not answer is, what is the cat doing during that frozen moment? That's exactly what I wanted to find out. So let me tell you exactly what I did. The recording was 20 minutes long. I spoke normally, without trying to add any drama, without constantly calling his name. It was the exact same tone I use every single evening when I sit on the sofa and he lies right next to my feet. I placed the speaker right where I usually sit, not in a strange spot, not in the middle of the room. The volume was just loud enough to hear, no louder than normal. The camera was positioned in the opposite corner, a wide-angle lens. I could see the whole living room, the entrance from the bedroom, and the front door. I ran this experiment for 5 consecutive days. Every day I changed one small variable. Day 1, my voice. Day 3, the voice of a friend. Someone my cat had met 3 or 4 times, not a complete stranger. Day 5, nothing at all, complete silence. The hardest part was not setting up the experiment. The hardest part was walking out the door. I kept standing at the doorway, looking inside, wondering how he would feel hearing my voice without seeing me there. Would he search for me? Would he be confused? Then I hit play, stepped out, and closed the door. And if you are a cat owner, if you have ever left the house and wondered what your cat is doing there all alone, this is exactly why I started this channel. Because those questions deserve real answers. Day 1. I sat in my car, my eyes glued to my phone screen, watching the camera feed. 15 seconds. 20 seconds. The living room was empty. 28 seconds after the recording started, he walked in. He stopped right at the doorway of the living room. His ears were straight up. His head turned toward the speaker. Then he did not move. He did not come any closer. He did not meow. He did not do anything. Just stood there. Looking. 45 seconds went by. 1 minute. He sat down, still looking toward the speaker, and stayed right there. 4 minutes and 17 seconds, I counted, because I could not believe what I was seeing. For 4 minutes and 17 seconds, he sat there looking at the speaker playing my voice. Not restless, not searching, not looking confused at all. Then he lay down, facing the speaker, his eyes half closed. He did not look like he was looking for me. He looked like he was listening to someone he knows very well talking to him from inside the room. And that was enough. That was when I began to understand that what was happening was not just sound recognition. Something else was happening inside his brain. And science actually explains it in a way that I completely did not expect. Day 3. My friend's voice came out of the speaker. Same volume, same location, same time of day. 45 seconds went by before he walked into the room. 17 seconds later than the first day. He looked toward the speaker, but he did not stop. He kept walking across the room, to the other corner, lay down for a bit, then came back, approached the speaker and took a sniff. Then he left. The total time he stayed in the room with my friend's voice, 3 minutes, compared to 11 minutes on the first day. Same room, same speaker, same volume, different voice. And he knew, not in a confused or anxious way. He simply knew that was not me and reacted in a way that fit that information. Not overstimulated, not ignoring it completely, just acknowledging it and moving on. But what he did with that information, that was the part that made me pause. Cats do not process voices the way humans do. We hear words, grammar, content. We decode meaning from language. Cats do not do that. They hear what researchers call an acoustic signature. Every human voice has its own distinct harmonic pattern, a baseline frequency, its own breathing rhythm. Cats map these patterns into their memory like an audio fingerprint. And unlike humans, they do not need context to recognize it. They recognize it right from the very first seconds. But here is the part that a 2022 study from the University of Paris discovered, which completely changed how I look at what I recorded. Cats do not just recognize voices. They recognize the emotional state inside that voice. The exact same words, the exact same human voice. But if that voice carries stress, breathing a little faster, frequency slightly higher, rhythm more irregular, cats react differently. They approach differently. They make different decisions about how safe the situation is. That means every single time you talk to your cat, whether you are talking about the weather, about dinner, or about something completely pointless, they are reading your true emotions through the acoustic pattern in your voice, not through words, through the way you breathe between sentences, through the speed at which you speak, through the things you cannot control when you talk naturally. This is the part I wish I had known sooner. All those times I thought I was just rambling to him. He was running a full emotional scan. He knows when I am tired, knows when I am anxious, knows when I am truly doing okay. Not because he understands my words, because he understands me. Day 5. I did not play anything. The house was completely silent, just like any normal day when I am away. 6 minutes went by before he walked into the living room, much later than the previous 2 days. He went over to the speaker, sniffed it, looked at it, then left. And after that, he walked over to the front door. The exact door that I walk through every evening when I come home. And he lay down right there. When my voice was there, he listened and stayed with that sound. When it was someone else's voice, he acknowledged it and went on with his day. When there was nothing, he did not go to the speaker. He went to the door. Because when there is no sound to listen to, he is not waiting for a voice anymore. He is waiting for me. This is what I thought about after watching all 5 days of footage. Your cat spends a significant part of the day in a house without you, and during that time, they are not just waiting, they are listening. They have memorized your acoustic signature to the point where a 20-minute recording is enough to get them to sit down, settle in, and stay close by. Think about that for a moment. You did not teach them that. You did not train them to do that. They do it on their own, because it matters to them. Because you matter to them. Keep this in mind. Your voice to your cat is not just a sound. It is a signal that the safest thing in their world is close by. Not because they are programmed that way. Not because they need something from you. But because, after all these days of living together, they chose to map your voice into the deepest part of their memory and keep it there. That is not just recognition. That is bonding, in the only way they know how to express it. After watching the footage from day 5, I had one more question. If my cat reacts so clearly and differently to my voice versus someone else's, then what happens when he hears my voice and I am actually there, but I am not okay? When my acoustic signature does not match what he has memorized, because I am stressed or exhausted or trying to hide something, I spent the next week looking for the answer to that. And what I discovered connects directly to something I have been tracking over the past month. I have a video on how cats detect their owner's stress levels before the owners themselves even realize they are stressed. It picks up right where this video leaves off. He knew before I did, and here is how he does it.